Welcome back. This is Friday Fuel. I'm Aidan, and this is our series Answer Me This. But before we get into the detail this week, let's just reflect on the summer. Did we have a good summer? Yes. Did you? If you've got school-aged kids, how have you managed with a new routine as they got into the swing of things with school? What are the challenges that you're facing? Have a think. What routine do you need, and what routine are you trying to get into to maximise your time with them, maximise the time that they have to do their schoolwork, to do their activities. This is a time when it gets chaotic. These first couple of weeks, depending on how old your kids are. So we're in year 1 and year 4 now, and things are ramping up. There's no more reception year where there's a little bit of play and a bit more fun. Now we're very much focused on learning. And our school, well, we do 10 minutes of reading, 10 minutes of writing, and 10 minutes of spelling. And there's a spelling test at the end of the week. We have to cram it in, we have to get it in. But to add to the layers that we manage at home now, my wife's just started her new role. And that started today. It's a new company, new opportunity, but it also means that she's commuting up into London 3 days a week. So it's a new challenge. It's something for her to get her teeth into. And importantly for her, it's the challenge that she craves and the recognition that she's deserved throughout her career. This is her chance to shine. And, without trying to steal somebody else's thunder, with the Parenting Out Loud initiative, well, I'm going to do my very utmost to stand shoulder to shoulder to ensure that she does thrive in that role, that she has every opportunity to make a success of it, because that's our role. If you're in that partnership, you're in that strong relationship, you are bouncing off one another. You're ensuring that you're both having those moments where you accomplish something, where you feel great about yourself. These are the moments that bring us closer together. Yes, they're challenging, and there are going to be many challenges on the horizon. But in reality, it's that opportunity that we both look for, and it's that opportunity that inspires us to be better around our kids. And these are the opportunities to show up for our kids and show them what it's really like and how you can dictate your future, how you can create something unique for you, your family in the future. But of course, it's not without its hurdles. And these are the hurdles that we're going to have to overcome in the coming weeks. So stay tuned as I fill you in with more detail and I'm sure more learnings and of course more chaos. But look, the summer, if I reflect on the summer, it was busy. We were juggling clubs, we were juggling 2 busy careers, and of course we were coming to the end of my partner's time with her previous employer. So we did have an opportunity where it felt like, one breadwinner, one person going off to work and the other person was at home, making sure that the kids had what they needed. And, for me, it was a bit of a moment to breathe as her husband, as her partner. But I think for her as well, it was that moment to decompress, reset, and ready herself for these new challenges. But of course, the summer flies by, and everything that you're focused on in the summer is about creating experiences, time to bond, time to spend with one another, and carving out those moments that make real memories. We had a great holiday. It was beautiful, it was wonderful. And there were times when we were exhausted, like any parent. You are spending almost 24 hours a day with your kids. It's draining, it's fun, it's enjoyable, it's filled with laughter, frustration, the odd tantrum. But ultimately, it was about creating new experiences for us and for them. And just taking a moment to reset after a pretty challenging year and loads of obstacles that we had to overcome as a group. But this is a new start, it's a new school year, it's a fresh start, it's a fresh opportunity, and I think we're going to go into it feet first. We're going to throw ourselves in, we're going to make space for one another at the weekend, and we're going to try and carve out time and create those experiences as we head into the autumn, as we head into the winter, where we're spending quality time together as a family. Maybe we're just carving out time on a Friday night to watch a movie, maybe a Saturday, and maybe it's just taking a moment to bond, to enjoy one another's company and create that space that you need as a family unit to find out more about each other, to learn about the challenges that you faced in that week, to learn about what you each enjoy, those things that make you smile, because those are the moments that we often lose when we're scrolling, when we're distracted by work, when they're distracted by what they carry as youngsters after a long, challenging week at school. So I suppose the message is it's a fresh start, right? If you've got school-age kids, this is your time to create and carve out a new routine for yourself, for your partner, and make sure that you do it. Make sure that you have those moments together, and make sure that you have those moments with your kids where you are distraction-free and you are focused on connection, focused on disconnecting from the outside world, and importantly, focusing on what they really need, which is you on form, connected, and ready to play full out. Okay, so we're back. This is Answer Me This. Look, if you like what you hear, subscribe to the YouTube channel, listen to the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, grab some of our free resources at themodernfatherhoodclub.com, and if you're prepared to do so, join the conversation, join the community, start sharing your own views and opinions on your fatherhood story, because each of our stories is unique. Each of these questions that I pose on a weekly basis as part of this series is designed to test you, is designed to help you reset, and they're designed to help you reflect on the role that you play, the man that you are today, and the dad that you're going to become. Because ultimately, we're here to shape lives. And the more that we reflect on who we are, what we stand for, our values, our beliefs, and understand what influences us when we show up, well, that's going to help us shape their lives from a position of strength and confidence. So this week, would you want to be raised by you? It's not just a question, it's a mirror. It's the one we're scared to look into. It's the one where we catch a glimpse of that man in the mirror and we're not comfortable with who or what we see. This is the big one. This is the one you don't shy away from. Think. Let it breathe, and then don't hold back. The rawness of this answer should shift you like it did me. Because when I started looking deeper and really trying to understand the man and the dad I was becoming, I wasn't comfortable with what I saw or with the way I felt. I felt restless. I would sit in my own thoughts. I'd feel this uneasiness wash over me. Like I always had to do something, push for more, earn more, deliver more, be more. I couldn't just sit in silence, because the silence is where I did most of my thinking. But it wasn't how I felt in that moment, it was how I reacted after. That unsettled feeling often left me empty, frustrated, and at times it stopped me showing up in the way that they needed me to. That's when the guilt really washes over you, because you fail to respond in the way that helps them not only learn, but also understand how their emotions can dictate how they feel about something or even themselves. So let me ask you this, and I don't want the polished answer, I want your truth. And if you're prepared to, share it in the comments, drop me a DM or send me an email. I want to hear your story. I want to understand the pressure that you're under. I want to help wherever I can. Okay, so when your kids are tired, frustrated, or they're doubting themselves, do you respond how you needed someone to respond to you at that same age? When they make mistake after mistake, not once, but again and again, are you reacting as the father that you wish you had? Was the man trying to fix something inside himself? And is your reaction born from something that's restless inside of you, or something that you need to face up to? Because the deeper question is really this. Are you raising them to be strong in their skin? Or are you trying to raise them to be the version of you that never got to breathe? Are you parenting from fear of repeating your past, or from a vision of the future that sets them free? These are the questions, right? These are the questions that are necessary to unlock the version of you that your children need. I believe to my core that we're on the edge of the unknown. What we thought we could control is now moving so fast that perhaps we're just not capable of catching up to it. The world is evolving. Our children need to be ready. And for those of us still working in 20 plus years' time, we do too. The challenge for us as parents, well, it can't be underestimated. And that's why we've got to reflect on who we are, what we stand for, and how we can and are prepared to adapt. Today, we must be the role models that shape their future, because without a true north, appreciation for their values, how are our children ever going to find their way? With two distinct personalities at home, I must adapt and be ready for anything. Henry is focused on tomorrow and what the future holds. What's Maxie? Well, he lives for now. With Henry, you've got to take a step back and try to understand his thought process. As a deeper thinker, he's more conscious. But with the deeper thinking, he's more prone to lashing out, easily frustrated, and often challenging to navigate. Maxie, he's hot-headed, but in short, sharp bursts. He's easy to move on, easy to distract. He's not sharp-tongued. With Henry, we have to recognise the signs and try to intercept before chaos ensues. And my role isn't just to encourage and champion them, but it's also about teaching them to be aware of their limitations, and that awareness can help them discover that strength within, the one that will help them find their feet and succeed at what they love. I think we want the same thing. We want our children to be strong-willed, passionate, self-aware. But do we not also want them to feel uncomfortable and be okay with that feeling? Because it's about helping them to realise that there's nothing wrong with that uncomfortable feeling. That restlessness. You know, that feeling in your chest? Things are tight, uncomfortable. Those moments just before you leap into something new, something exciting. I worry today that we're teaching our children about self-awareness and about their emotions, but I think the message is blurred. Where do our role models come from? Who are they learning from? What role models do they see at school that sell the real picture? That life's tough, and it's not without hardship, but that's okay. If not you and I, how do they know that the uncomfortable feeling in the pit of their stomach is a prompt? Something that can spur them on, something that can push them to another level. Look, I'm a calm individual on the outside. I've been told that I don't get flustered. What if I told you underneath is this fiery character, one that's looking for something unique, something that inspires change in my kids? I don't believe that fire should be suppressed. It has to be channeled in the right way, but never suppressed. But maybe as a fiery individual, I wasn't always able to channel it in that way. And that's why at times my eldest and I clash. Maybe it was easier to suppress, fall into line and hide. You see, Henry's me in so many ways. I don't want him to lose sight of who he is or what he's capable of becoming. I'm constantly trying to find that right approach to both boys and their uniqueness, so that they become the truest version of themselves possible. I know I'm more tolerant and understanding of both boys than either of their granddads. Perhaps it's an age thing, but maybe it's just a generational gap that can't be filled. And again, be okay with that. You see, my job is simple: to role model the values, beliefs and behaviours that I hope will steer them well in the future. But you can't always do that if you're not prepared to take a step back and see those blind spots we ignore, but know that they're there. I can't recall my dad ever being overly critical. He supported me and he let me make my own choices. Me, I want to get in the deep with them so that they find their inner confidence, strength and resilience. The younger version of me wasn't confident and self-assured. I grew up hating the person I looked at in the mirror. I was reserved in social situations, and I put that down to never truly finding what I loved, but also fearing that uncomfortable feeling. I never put myself out there. I never took that extra step. You know, the one that allows you to find your voice, your confidence, that strength. So when you reflect, I want you to know that I'm doing the same. I'm in this with you. So am I raising them to be strong in their skin, or trying to raise them to be the version of me that never got to breathe? I push more than I was pushed, but not in a negative way. Or at least I hope not. I always take time to explain things, especially when things have been hard. But I want them to set their own expectations and never have to guess if I'm proud. It's not the result I'm helping them with, it's the process, and I want you to take that away. I'm trying to help them understand that fear of failure is something you only experience if you fail, not if you never try. That fear of judgment works the same way. You can hide and nobody will judge, and you'll regret letting things pass you by, or you can give it a go and see where it leads. As a busy parent, you create distance, which isn't always intentional, but it can be healthy. That distance, I think, is necessary. It's necessary so that they become self-reliant, independent, and are able to solve problems. You see, they learn the difference between outcome and process, or inputs versus outputs. My dad and I aren't that different. We want the same thing for our kids, to find their feet. What path they choose, entirely up to them. They can't find that path if you're not prepared to lead. Let's be clear, your kids enter the school system and they'll either lead or be led. They'll either perform or they'll find the middle or be left behind. They'll either be academic, practical, or misunderstood or underrepresented. As modern dads, our role is to reflect on our own upbringing, our performance at school, and even weigh up the things that were inside and outside our control. You see, what I want is this, for them to realise their potential and understand their value. I want them to recognise their strengths and learn from their weaknesses. But I want them to place value on their own beliefs and values before letting someone dictate where they end up or try to influence that path they follow. Today we have more to navigate, more opinions, more noise, nonsense, more voices to ignore. And with the world changing at pace, I feel it's become necessary for me to change too. And perhaps my presence doesn't always create the right outcomes. But I'll leave that one for now, because that's something I'm still working through. I feel it's an uncomfortable thought process given the narrative that's desperately trying to dilute the strength and masculinity of the modern dad. What I don't want to do is lose sight of the strengths of my partner as a woman, a mum, and how in our home we complement one another. I also don't want to lose sight of the importance of the male role model in the development of these young boys. Don't get me wrong, I want to be more engaged, more present, and be there. But I also want my kids to value what really matters. As dads, we've got to play to our strengths, and our awareness of our limitations is what will help us have the impact we want to have and the impact they need us to have. But it also allows us to showcase modern fatherhood, modern masculinity, and celebrate the male influence. In other words, it's okay to stick it to the modern way and teach them about feelings, emotional intelligence, but without losing sense of who they are, what they value, and their future masculinity. Our job is to let them fail from time to time. Let them fall. Let them realise that failure and setback, well, it's just part of the journey, and we will be there, not to hold their hand or even pick them up, but to help them understand where they went wrong and how to avoid that mistake next time. It's not just about reflecting on how you needed someone to respond to you at the same age. It's reflecting on how the approach taken by those have shaped you. Perhaps the way your parents showed up showed you that it's okay to make mistakes and learn from them. But maybe they didn't quite show you the whole process from recovering from setback. Or maybe they ignored that lesson and shut you down when you tried to better understand it. You see, how you were parented and how they showed up in that moment might just be influencing how you show up today. So today, reflect. Are you reacting as the father you wish you had, or as the man trying to fix something inside himself? If you're trying to fix something, what is it? And what impact is it having on you and them every single day? More importantly, what is it causing you to miss out on? I've been thinking a lot lately about how I show up. I get the hugs. I say I love you more times than I can count. We do bedtime, we do playtime, we do school runs. But beneath that, I'm juggling. New house, building a business, holding a job I don't love, supporting a wife who's moving her career up a level to where she deserves to be. It's a lot. Sometimes I snap, or I disappear into work, or I just go through the motions? The biggest question I've asked myself is this: did I ever find the fix in 2020, or did I paper over the cracks? Did I bury it deeper so that I could give them something safe? I know the man that helped shape me. I respect and love that man unconditionally, and he's a big part of who I became. I know why I fell so hard in 2020. I'd conditioned myself to push beyond the pain I felt. Not for anyone else, but for me, for the shame that I felt inside. I knew I'd failed, but it wasn't because I failed financially. It's because I hadn't defined what I wanted from life. No vision, no direction, no plan. I'd learned to go beyond that pain. I resented no one, just me. I learned to accept the restlessness was something I'd just live with and never move beyond. But that's not what our parents want for us. That's not what we want for our kids. Regardless of your upbringing and the challenges you faced, you must redefine your plan. You must take a step back and recognize there are things you can control and things, well, you just gotta let slip by. If those things you can't control are holding you back, then it's time to make a change. That change has got to be necessary, and that change is going to have an impact on your future and theirs. If we wait, what example does it set? You must understand how your dad shaped you. You must recognize what he left you, your values, your beliefs, and how they show up in your relationship with your kids. If your father failed, then you must not let that define the man you are around your kids. You must take responsibility for the way it made you feel. If his failure has caused you great pain and suffering and stopped you living at your potential, then you've got to face it. Take responsibility for making changes so you do not overshadow the future of your children. People fail. Parents fail. Governments fail. Our role is to stop the generational impact that will destroy their future and their children's future. So we've got to fix whatever it is we're carrying. We've got to face up to the man in the mirror. And if you don't like what we see, then imagine what that father looks like tomorrow and years from now if you do decide to make a change. In 2025, we must recognize that our children need to see a path, not one that they need to follow, but one we're prepared to support them on. Did my path serve me? Yeah. Did I intentionally follow that path, or did it take a turn I hadn't planned? Well, it would be the latter. And that's why I ended up here. That's why I ended up where I am. I valued working hard, long hours, impact, face time, and chased recognition. To be valued. Do I want that for them? No. I want them to understand their value regardless of who they work for, where they work, and what they do. I want them to discover what I learned, but without the pain. I want them to understand who they are, what they value, and I want them to be clear on the boy and the man they're becoming. I know what I want from them. The question that leaves me restless is, am I capable of delivering it? Is there something that's holding me back, causing me to show up in the shadows? That's the bit that stings, because I know how I want to show up. Patient, powerful, present. But if that younger version of me walked through the door right now, would he feel safe here? Would he feel championed, inspired? Would he learn how to cope, how to survive, how to bottle things up and soldier on? That's what I want you to think about. Because the biggest influences inside your home are you and your partner. If we show up and we're championing them, we're pushing them and encouraging them to find what they love, then I'm confident they're going to be okay. What we don't control, that's the stuff we need to help them understand. Those are the things that we need to support them with. That's the voice of others, the influences all around them and us, the school system, the pressure, the world they're growing up in, the pace of change, and our ability as parents to navigate it without creating barriers. Think about the lack of male influence outside the home that aligns with your values, their values, and those values that is going to help them find their worth. So when I reflect on how I respond in the moment, when the pressure is on, or when the reaction from the boys isn't on point, I know I need to work at it. I need to reflect on the immediate response and the one I was able to intercept. I believe that the man I am and how I respond in the moment and my response under fire will set the tone for their emotional pattern, control, and help them appreciate what it's like to feel that fire burning under the surface. But most important of all, it's going to help them take responsibility for their own emotional response under pressure and the path they choose to take. My role is to teach them how to use it, embrace it, but without destroying the love and value that they feel for those they love the most. The truth is, I'm doing better than I give myself credit for, but I'm also not done. This isn't about guilt, it's about honesty, because I'm a good dad. But good isn't the goal, right? Growth is, and that means asking hard questions, facing the uncomfortable truths. That's why we're here, isn't it? We want to give our kids something unique, but against the pressure, we don't always feel like we're giving them what they need. I'm here to tell you to stop searching for perfect and pause to reflect on the job that you're doing. Recognize the challenges you've faced and address them. Celebrate the impact you've had and are having. Understand what they need and meet those needs. Be aware of the changing pace of the world around you. Face up to the real work and question whether good is good enough. Not for you, but for them. They need you too. They love you. But what more can you give them? How can you show up today that's going to demonstrate what you stand for, who you are, what you value, what guides you, and what shaped you? They need you. They don't need someone hiding in the shadow or limited by their own existence. They need a dad ready to face the challenge with them, to stand by their side, shoulder to shoulder, and to help them understand what failure looks like, feels like, but also someone who respects the process and understands that it's the process that will deliver the output. What that output is, that's entirely up to you. As we navigate this crazy world, remember what we set out to answer. Would you want to be raised by you? And if the answer is, I don't know, then we've got some work to do. But if the answer is, I'm working at it and I know where we're heading, then you're on the right path. But let me be really clear. If you're not sure, then only you can choose to show up and do the work. Only you can define the man and father you are and the one they need. Only you can lead your family and create a legacy that empowers them to a bright future. I don't know what the future holds for us. I'm working towards something different, something that excites me, something that will give my kids what they need and hopefully teach them something along the way. That's what fatherhood is about. It's about recognizing what they need and working toward what you want to give them. We're not talking financial or experience. We're talking discovery of the world where they see dad at his best, where dad can disconnect, where dad isn't held back, and where dad is present. I'm working on leading because if I want them to know how to navigate pressure, process emotion, chase passion, I've got to live it. They learn from how you show up when it's hard. They learn from how I love their mum. They learn from how I talk to myself when I fail. If you're doing the work and focused on the things that matter, they'll see the real you. The authenticity is going to seep into every interaction. If you're like me, you're trying to give your kids more of what you needed. You're in the arena with them. You're not watching from the sidelines. You're in the mud, the mess, the magic. Before we start to wrap up, there's one more thing I'm going to ask you. When you lose patience, is it really them you're frustrated with, or the part of you see in them? The doubt, the hesitation, the version of you who didn't step up, who stayed quiet when they should have gone all in. You see, you're not trying to raise perfect kids. You're trying to raise free children who know they're loved even when they fail. So here's your gut check. Would the 8-year-old you feel safe under your roof? Would he feel like he didn't have to earn your pride or like it was already his just for being? That's what my boys need, and that's what your kids need too. Not perfection, not a dad who gets it right every time. They need the man who remembers what it felt like to be unsure. They need the man who shows them how to keep walking anyway. We must adapt Embrace the version of us that's uncomfortable, that doesn't have it all figured out, because that's the version they need to see. The one who's prepared to fail and get back up and try again. The one thing my dad gave me was space to make my own decisions. But what I want my kids to see is the side of me that's filled with passion, not apprehension, not the man who second-guessed every decision or got stuck in the weeds and couldn't find his way out. The process is more important than the result, because that's where you learn about who you are and what they learn about who they are and what they are capable of achieving. Your role is simple. Protect them from the noise and the nonsense, not by sheltering them from it completely, but giving them the tools to silence it themselves. We only do that if we can build trust. Trust with ourselves, trust with them. If we encourage them to follow their own path and help them discover their inner strength and resilience, then I think we'll have done what we set out to do. You must be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to recognize that being comfortable can lead you to feeling distant, distracted, and fearful of the future, and even today. Your willingness to try something and fail isn't the sign of weakness, but bravery. The hard work is in the consistency, and your approach to setback is what will set you apart. I'll leave you with one more. If you're frustrated by the little bit of you that stares back when you're in the mess and the chaos with your kids, what are you going to do about it? If you're uncomfortable and restless, what could you do to change direction, feel less distant and more connected? I've chosen to flip the script. Less pressure to be perfect, more intention to be real. That's my vision. Because if my boys look back one day and say, yeah, I want to be raised by a man like that, then I've done my job. Not just as a dad, but as a leader. Because fatherhood is leadership. Understanding your strengths, weaknesses, and allowing others to grow, well, that's all part of the role. Leadership is also about recognizing what is holding you back or preventing you from delivering when it matters. It's also about taking responsibility for the need to tweak and go again. Once you're clear on the impact you can have and want to have, then things are going to start to fall into place, and they'll see the real you, the one prepared to guide from that position of strength and confidence that we always talk about. Remember, when you have kids, they get the best and the worst of you, and that's by design. It's there to test you as a parent, but it's how you interrupt the worst parts that's going to help them find their place and be ready for the challenges and the uncertainty ahead. If this hit you, you're not alone. This is the Modern Fatherhood Club. This is Answer Me This. My vision is simple. Test the boundaries of fatherhood today and set new precedent for how we show up and how we shape their future. This series has been designed to test you, to push you outside your comfort zone and ask you some tough questions, because I believe we need to evolve, adapt to our environment and show it when they need us. Not just when they need us most, but all the time. Every opportunity to spend time together is time to invest in your legacy. Every moment lost is one you'll never get back and one you'll never be able to repeat. You don't need more time, you need more clarity, more conviction, and a reminder that your presence is the point. What you need, more than anything, is to choose to set the standard and then raise your game. Not by throwing yourself into work, but by throwing yourself into the life at home, in the moments with your kids and your partner. Your standard will set the tone. It will create a vision for their future, one you can nurture over time. You see, this isn't about making sweeping changes. This is about taking a step forward today, another tomorrow, and doing it every single day. If you start today, where will they be in the future? What path will they follow? And how much will you and they grow? More importantly, what will your bond be like? As always, write it down, dive into the detail. Create something so powerful and unique that you cannot wake up and not move toward it. Your change, any change, must be necessary, and it's got to leave a mark. They'll follow in your footsteps. They'll learn your behaviours, adopt your values, and treat people in the same way you treated them. Your role is simple. Give it everything you have. Give them what they need. Lead from the front and help them discover their strength, passion, power, and resilience. And in doing so, discover the rawness of your own story and what shaped you. Leaders understand their limitations. They recognize when they don't have all the answers. And let's face it, we don't have all the answers. But this series is here to help you work through the hard stuff and give you insight into what you might be missing. This journey isn't easy, but you're not walking it alone. If you're doing the work too, let's talk. And let's keep each other honest. This has been Answer Me This. I'm Aidan, the founder of the Modern Fatherhood Club. As always, thank you for listening. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Come and join us at themodernfatherhoodclub.com. Grab some of our free resources. Grab some of our paid courses too. The New Dad Recharge is available right now and includes Fatherhood Unleashed as a bonus to help you truly understand the man and father you're destined to become. The exercises within those courses are designed to help you zero in on what really matters so that you're clear, so that you have the motivation to make the changes necessary to give them what they need. This has been Answer Me This, part of Friday Fuel and the Fatherhood in Focus podcast. I'm Aidan. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you soon.